Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. We all know you're busy people, right? You want to learn and grow, but who has the time to sift through mountains of information these days?
Right. That's why we're here, to cut through the noise and bring you the stuff that actually makes a difference.
Exactly. So, today we're going deep on something that really resonated with us, something that's applicable, well, just about everywhere you look.
Yeah, no matter what you're aiming for, whether it's feeling healthier, getting your finances in order, being a better parent or partner, or even crushing it in your career, this framework we're about to unpack can seriously help.
Okay, so the source material we're diving into today is a piece by Obsidian A. Freeman. It's called Transforming Your Life Through Attention, Consideration, and Transaction.
Yeah, I know. The title might sound a bit, well, corporate-y at first.
Right, like something you'd hear in a marketing meeting.
But trust me on this one, this framework is so powerful. It's about applying these core principles of marketing, like grabbing attention, making people consider your product, and ultimately driving them to buy it, to your own life.
Exactly. It's like turning those marketing strategies inward to create real, lasting change. It's not some random thing that happens to you, it's something you can actually control.
Absolutely. Just like a good marketer has to capture their audience's attention, we have to learn to direct our own attention to the things that truly matter to us. And that's really the first step in this whole process.
Okay, so our mission today is to break down this attention, consideration, and transaction framework. We're going to explore how you can use it to see real improvements in your health, wealth, knowledge, finances, family, business, you name it.
It's about recognizing that lasting change isn't some random event. It's a process we can actively engage with.
I love that. So, are you ready to dive in? Let's start with step one, attention. As Freeman puts it, where attention goes, energy flows.
Right.
Simple, but so powerful, right?
It is. Think of it this way. Your body's always sending you signals. Paying attention is like tuning in to that internal radio station and starting to understand what it's trying to tell you.
So, it's about that conscious awareness of where you're focusing your energy. And what you focus on grows, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is Freeman gives us really concrete ways to apply this principle across different areas of life.
Like with our health, for instance, it's about really observing our bodies, noticing how different foods make us feel, how our sleep affects our energy levels, the impact of exercise.
So moving from that like autopilot mode to one of real awareness, right?
Totally. And, Freeman even suggests tracking your progress in these areas because let's be honest, how can you really improve something if you're not even paying attention to it?
Makes sense. You can't optimize what you're not actively observing.
Right. Right. And this idea of paying attention is huge when it comes to wealth and finances, too. Freeman talks about the importance of focusing on where your money is going, tracking your spending, saving, investments. He calls it the foundation of financial transformation.
Which, when you think about it, is so obvious but so often overlooked. You can't manage what you're not even aware of.
It's so true. And what's interesting is just that simple act of knowing where your money's going can have a massive impact. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it forces us to confront reality. We often have these like vague ideas about our spending habits, but when you actually track it, you see the truth. You might realize, wow, I'm spending way more on takeout than I thought, or I'm not actually saving as much as I should be.
Makes total sense. It's like shining a light on those blind spots, right?
Exactly. And that brings up an important question for all of you listening. How much attention are you actually paying to your finances? Are you really aware of where your money's going?
It's something to really think about. Okay, so we've talked about health, finances, but this framework isn't just about ourselves, right? It's also about our relationships with others.
Absolutely. When it comes to family and friends, attention means really being present with the people we care about.
Like Freeman talks about active listening, not just hearing the words, but really focusing on what someone's saying, both verbally and nonverbally.
And, actually dedicating quality time, not just being in the same room, but actually engaging with them, being fully present.
Exactly. In today's world, it's so easy to be physically present, but mentally checked out. We're all guilty of it, right?
Oh, totally. And the thing is, your attention is a limited resource, right? So when you choose to give someone your undivided attention, you're basically telling them, you're important to me. I value our relationship.
That's such a powerful way to look at it. And finally, there's the business side of things.
Yeah, so applying attention in a business context means really understanding your target audience. What are their needs? What are their pain points? What are they looking for?
It also means staying on top of market trends, what's working, what's not. And Freeman even emphasizes attention to detail, which can really make or break a business, right?
Especially in a crowded market.
Mm.
The businesses that pay attention to those little things, the nuances, they're the ones that stand out and succeed.
So true. Now, Freeman also gives some really practical advice for improving our focus,
Yeah, he says to actively eliminate distractions.
which is easier said than done these days,
It's
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
But it's crucial. You got to create those pockets of stillness, those opportunities for quiet reflection. That's where you process information, you connect the dots, you make better decisions.
I love that. Okay, so we've paid attention, we've gathered some information. What's next? Step 2, consideration.
Right. And this isn't just about thinking about something briefly. It's about actively weighing your options, planning your next move. It's analysis, it's preparation.
It's that deeper dive.
Right. Exactly. So, for example, with health, consideration might mean researching different diets, exercise programs, mindfulness techniques. It's about finding what works for you, your body, your lifestyle.
And Freeman also reminds us that it's okay to consult experts, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes you need that outside perspective, that guidance from someone who really knows their stuff.
So true. And when it comes to wealth and finances, consideration means really analyzing different financial opportunities.
Like Freeman talks about exploring the stock market, real estate, maybe starting a side hustle. But the key is to weigh the pros and cons, to think critically before jumping in.
Don't just chase the shiny object, right?
Right. Consider the risks, the potential downsides, not just the potential rewards. It's about making informed decisions, not acting impulsively.
And then with family and relationships, consideration is about, well, considering the impact of your actions on others.
It's about thinking before you speak, being mindful of how your words and actions affect those around you. It's empathy. It's perspective taking.
It's so crucial, right? Especially in close relationships.
It is. Taking a moment to consider the other person's viewpoint can prevent so much conflict and misunderstanding.
And in the business world, consideration means market research, getting feedback from customers and stakeholders, planning your execution strategy.
Basically, don't just rush into things blindly. Think things through. Have a plan.
Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure, right?
Pretty much. It's
Yeah.
like setting off on a journey without a map. You might get there eventually, but you're going to run into a lot of unnecessary obstacles along the way.
Great analogy. And Freeman gives us this really valuable piece of advice for this stage. Don't rush.
He's saying that thoughtful deliberation, even if it takes time, will ultimately save you time and energy in the long run.
So true. We're always in such a hurry. But sometimes slowing down, taking the time to think things through is the most efficient approach.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, so we've paid attention, we've considered our options. What's the final step?
Step 3, and this is the big one, transaction. It's about taking action, creating real-world results.
It's putting all that attention and consideration into practice.
A transaction in this context is basically an exchange, right? You're exchanging your time, energy, resources for something you want to achieve.
Exactly, and Freeman is very clear about this. This is the most important step. Without action, nothing changes.
So let's break it down. In terms of health, transaction might mean committing to that workout plan, signing up for that yoga class, actually prepping those healthy meals.
It's about bridging that gap between intention and action.
Right.
It's easy to say you're going to do something, but actually doing it is a whole different ballgame.
It is. And often, that first step is the hardest, but also the most crucial.
It sets the wheels in motion.
Yeah.
And those small, consistent actions, those transactions, they add up over time. They
Yeah.
create real change.
So true. And in terms of wealth and finances, transaction might mean making that first investment, opening that savings account, launching that side hustle.
It's about putting your money where your mouth is, so to speak.
Exactly. And again, it's about taking action, not just thinking about it. Now, for our listeners out there, what financial transactions have you been putting off? What actions could you take today to move closer to your goals?
It's a question worth pondering. And then, in the realm of relationships, transaction means putting those insights you gained during the consideration stage into action.
Showing up for those important family events, expressing gratitude, making an effort to connect with your loved ones.
It's not just about saying, I love you. It's about showing it through your actions, your presence.
Beautifully put. And in the business world, transaction is about launching that product, pitching that idea, investing in that marketing campaign.
It's about execution. All the great ideas in the world are useless if you don't actually do anything with them.
So true. And you know, Freeman has this great tip for this stage. Perfect is the enemy of done. He's encouraging us to just start, to take action and refine as we go, rather than waiting for things to be perfect.
I love that. It's so liberating, right? Because that fear of not being perfect can really hold us back.
It can totally paralyze us.
Yeah.
So just start, take that first step, and then adjust course as needed. Now, this whole attention, consideration, transaction framework, it's not a one-time thing, right?
It's an ongoing cycle, a continuous process of improvement. You pay attention, you consider your options, you take action, and then you pay attention again to the results of your actions.
And you adjust accordingly, right?
Exactly. It's a feedback loop. You're constantly learning and refining your approach.
And Freeman gives this great example of how this works in practice, using the goal of improving your finances.
Yeah, so first, you pay attention to your spending habits. Maybe you track your expenses for a month. Then you consider different budgeting methods or investment strategies. And finally, you take action by setting up a budget, automating your savings, making that investment.
It's such a clear example of how these concepts, attention, consideration, transaction, can be applied to any area of life.
It gives you a roadmap, a framework for creating real change.
And so, for all of you listening, Freeman ends his piece with this really powerful question. What's one area of your life where you can apply this framework right now?
Think about it. Is it your health? Your finances? A relationship? Your career?
What's one small step you can take today to start moving in the right direction?
It's about identifying that area where you want to see improvement and then using this framework to make it happen.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, the big takeaway here is this. Attention, consideration, and transaction isn't just some business buzzword. It's a life model. It's a way to achieve success in any area you choose.
And the best part is, it's actionable. You can start applying it today. You don't have to wait.
Freeman encourages us to start small, to take those intentional steps, and to observe the results.
Remember, every big change starts with a single small action.
And here's a final thought for you to ponder. What if applying this framework in just one area of your life could actually create a ripple effect of positive change in other areas?
It's an interesting thought, right? What unexpected connections might emerge? How might focusing on one area actually improve other aspects of your life?
It's something to really reflect on. And until next time, keep diving deep.